Okay, type in the chat yes if you're able to see my screen. Great. Fine, guys. So yesterday I covered HTML basics, right? So I told you there are a few things that are left out in that HTML basics that I'll be covering today. And after that, I'll cover CSS like a cascading style sheet. Okay, after HTML, I told you that I'll be covering CSS. Some portion of CSS, guys. You don't have to be an expert in CSS again. Only the basic knowledge is all good enough. Okay, so fine. That's the plan for today. The left out part of HTML and CSS. And after that, we may go for any other, the next prerequisite will go maybe locators. Okay, we'll go with the locators next if required. Some locator basics will go. Later, we'll be exploring locators in detail. But fine. Okay, so let's get started with today's session where, in this HTML, hope you guys got the assignments and, you have started working on the assignments, right? So guys, have you started working on the assignments? So one of the assignment was, test cases, executing the test cases related to login functionality, that is login, logout, register account, and forgot password. Second assignment that I gave yesterday is, you need to explore HTML in detail. I have shared you one video from where you have to explore that, right? So now, today, I'll give you one more assignment during the session. That assignment I'll give you that you need to go through by till the end of this weekend. Fine. Let's move on. So where is that part that I want to cover? I'm just checking. Give me a second. Okay. It's all completed. Okay, this is fine. Don't have to cover much. Yeah. Yeah, this one. You see, in HTML, we have to know a few more things.
Sir, 1 minute.
Yes.
Actually, in my project, if I open my page source, more tags are like UI, LI. What are those?
Okay, okay. So for that to understand, you have to complete my assignment.
Okay, okay, sir.
Okay, so if you complete my assignment, you will know everything. Okay.
Okay.
Basically, UL means unordered list, LI means list element. Okay. So I can give you a high level glimpse of that, but HTML wise, you have to explore. Okay.
Okay.
If you go to this application, on this application page, you see there is a order list and unordered list. Can you see that?
Yes.
A list of elements which have the numbering. This is order because they are in order, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 means order. Whereas we also have unordered list where we have the list of elements without any order. So bullet points are there because Apple can be in the first position, third position, doesn't matter here. Okay. Here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday also can be an example. Okay. Here different things like here January, February, March. Okay. Order list. Whereas blue, yellow, white, green, that can be in unordered list. Okay. That kind of examples. So to create such kind of order list and order list, we have to use some HTML tags known as UL, LI, OL. Like for order list, we use OL tag, where unorder list we'll use UL tag to create. And all the elements inside this order list or unorder list will have the tag name known as LI. LI means every element will have LI tag, starting and ending. Okay. Now clear for you?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, fine, great. So ID attribute, guys. Okay, the next item we have is ID attribute. If you go and see some HTML Okay, let me copy this. Let's change it. Yeah. ID attribute we are going to discuss, guys. Okay, I'm going to explain now. The ID attribute. There are some attributes in HTML which we need to understand because these attributes will be useful later for us in terms of locators concepts, right? I told you there's one more prerequisite that we have to learn, that is nothing but locators. Okay. So here ID attribute, name attribute plays a role. Okay. ID attribute and name attribute will plays a role in locators part. So let's understand them. So are there any other, one more attribute will be there, that is class attribute also. Is it anywhere? Yeah, class attribute is here. So you have to know about ID attribute, name attribute, class attribute. These three attributes we are going to see in HTML. Okay. So what are the three attributes I mentioned? Type in the chat, guys. Type in the chat. Type in the chat. What are the three attributes that we are going to learn in HTML? I want you guys to type in the chat. Yes. ID attribute, name attribute, and class attribute. Type in the chat, everyone, no matter what. So these attributes, why we are learning? That is the next question. This attribute, why we are, these attributes, why we have to learn? Where it will help? Yes, in locators it will help. There's one more prerequisite topic known as locators. If you learn this ID, name, and class attribute in HTML, that will help us in locators part. Okay. Type locators as an answer, guys. Everyone type locators as an answer. This ID, name, and class attributes as HTML will help us in creating some locators. So that's the reason we are learning them now. Okay. That's why we are focusing on that now. Yeah. I'll take you to the application. And if you go to this application, I'll take one, you see, yeah, this button. Can you see this button? If I right click on the button and select inspect option, I'll get the HTML code of this button. Only this particular button, HTML code will be highlighted. Does it have an ID attribute? Yes, right. This button has an ID attribute with some value. More, as per the things, this value of this ID attribute should be unique. No other element on this page, no other element of this page will have this value. Okay. So if this button is having this BUT value, BUT2 value, no other element will have such kind of value. A different value it may have for the ID attribute, but only this element on this page need to have the ID will have the ID attribute value as BUT2. That means uniqueness. If developer somehow want to perform some operations on this button too while writing some code, for that reason they want to identify this button uniquely. That's why they gave a unique value to this ID attribute of this button. Okay, that's the reason behind they adding ID attribute to this HTML code. Not every element on this page have the ID attribute, right? If, for example, if you go with some this element search button, if I inspect the search button, tell me guys, does it have any ID attribute anywhere? Search button has a ID attribute? No, right? There may be some requirements by the developers where while writing the code here and there. Okay, there may be some requirements for the developers while writing the code here and there. So for few elements on the page, they will add the ID attribute. Okay, like for this button, they have added the ID attribute. For example, this text area field, let's see whether they have added the ID attribute or not. You see for text area field also, they have added the ID attribute. So it depends on the developers, like based on some operations they want to perform. Okay, uniquely on this text area field or uniquely on this button too. For that particular elements, they may be adding the ID attribute, guys. Okay, developers will be adding the ID attribute for such kind of elements. So 1 minute. Okay. So what are such kind of requirements where developer may add ID attributes to the elements and all? Okay. ID is for uniqueness, guys. You have to understand that ID, why the developers will specify ID attribute with value to different elements on the web pages to uniquely identify the elements. Okay. Type in the chat why ID attribute is specified for HTML elements to uniquely identify elements elements on the uniquely identify an element on the web page. See, I have an example I'll give you to make this thing clear for you. Let's say you have joined a company. Let's say tomorrow you join a company and you will be provided with some ID cards, right? You will be provided with ID cards in colleges and all everywhere, right? Wherever you join either a company or an institute or college, a school, etc., etc. So there will be a lot of people coming for studying there, and the management will decide to give them some ID cards. On the ID cards, each and every person will have a unique ID. Okay, each and every person will have a unique ID. Okay, the ID of this person will be different from this person. The ID of this person will be different from ID number of this person. Why they are giving, guys? So what is the reason why the management is giving unique IDs to the students? To uniquely
To
identify them.
identify them.
Yes, to identify them in a unique way. Okay, to
Yes.
identify them in a unique way because everyone is different, right? So maybe they may be conducting some exams. Okay, for that they may need IDs and all because every different person will have different score. They'll score differently, and they want to issue a book. Let's say there is a library in the college or something, and they want to issue a book. On what basis they can issue the book with the ID? Okay, because tomorrow if the book is not returned, they can reach out to that particular person with the help of the ID, right? So like that, here in web pages also there will be some elements, and we have to uniquely identify the elements for so and so reasons. In that cases, developers will assign some unique ID for them. Okay, but yeah, that's the main reason, guys. But is it compulsory that developers have to give the same unique? As per the best practices, they have to give the unique ID values for each and every element on the web pages. But okay, as per the best practices, I am saying. But what if I give the same ID to another element on the same web page? For example, TA1 is given for this text area field. For this text area field also, the developers have given the same ID is equal to TA1. Will that give or result in any error? The answer is no, guys. Okay. Even the purpose is to uniquely identify an element, but if the developers somehow, by mistake or, because they don't have time and all, just for the sake if they have added IDs and given the duplicate value, duplicate ID here and duplicate ID for this multiple elements instead of making them unique, does that give any error? Will this website will give any error? The answer is no, guys. Okay. Still, the application will not give any error, but we are not following the best practices. Okay. Ethics we are not following. Okay. So it's of no use if the developer has given ID is equal to A1, ID is equal to A1 for multiple elements on the same web page, right? So the purpose of the ID is to uniquely identify the elements, but the developer has misused that concept and has given the same ID for multiple elements on the same web page. So best practices developer is not following. So it's not compulsory that developer will uniquely identify the elements by uniquely giving some IDs. There may be some situations here and there where you will come across some elements on the web pages which may have the duplicate, which may have the same IDs. Okay, multiple elements may have the same IDs, but we have to ignore that, guys, or we have to reach out to our development team informing that if they say that okay, we are not in an intention to change it, then fine, we have to leave it, guys. Okay, we should not fight with the developers on that. We have to just inform them and leave it. Okay, if they feel that yes, this is a problem, they will change it. Otherwise, they will not change it. We should not fight for that. Clear, guys? Clear? The purpose is clear. The best practices, while while the developers, web developers, while assigning the IDs to multiple elements on the web pages, they may give duplicate IDs, but which is not a best practice. It doesn't mean that it will give some errors and all. Okay, so it will not give errors, but still, kind of. Okay. So I'll give you one example where ID attribute can be used by developers for uniqueness. Okay. Okay. So I'll write some HTML code for this. This is HTML code I have to implement. Here is the thing. So already we have written some HTML code, right? Okay. So we can take the same HTML code if required. I'll clear a lot of stuff in this. Or already something is there. Yeah, fine, no problem. Let's take the same example. Hope you remember the yesterday's code, right? Heading is there. 2 paragraphs are there. Username input fields are there. 3 input fields. I mean, 2 text box fields. One text box field, one password field, one login button, and there's a hyperlink, right? So what I'm going to do is here in the head section, I'll add some tags known as script tags. What are the tags? Flash script. The purpose of the script tags. These are from HTML. Okay. These tags are from where? Who is providing the script tags? Script tags belongs to which language? They're provided by which language? HTML language. Everyone type in the chat. Script language, script tags similar to HTML tag, head tag, title tag, body tag, H2 tag, P tag, input tag, A tag, IMG tag, etc., etc. Script tags are also from which language? HTML language only, guys. But so why HTML language is providing the script tags? Because inside the script tags, we can write the JavaScript code. Okay, you can create HTML. In HTML, from HTML, we can run some JavaScript code by mentioning that JavaScript code in between the script tags which are provided by HTML. Okay. What's the purpose of the script tags? Type in the chat. What is the purpose of the script tags? To run some JavaScript code. Type in the chat JavaScript. The purpose of the script tags is to run the JavaScript code, to run the JavaScript code from HTML file. Okay. To run the JavaScript code from the HTML file. You'll understand that. There is a question Yamini is asking me, why do we need JavaScript in HTML? That I'm going to cover now, okay? Why do we need JavaScript in HTML? I'm going to cover that. You'll understand, okay? By the end of this session, you'll understand that, Yamini, okay?
Thank you.
Fine. Okay. So don't worry what code I am writing because you are not aware of JavaScript. So I'm not even going to cover JavaScript for you at that level. So don't worry what is this code and all, okay? Okay. Fine. Here, I'm going to write some code.
Sorry, Arun, for asking that because CSS and JavaScript I don't understand. HTML is easy, but I'm just new to
Yeah,
JavaScript.
you'll understand. You'll understand. Don't worry about that. For now, just focus on this thing where, I'm not teaching you JavaScript or CSS now. Okay. I'm teaching you, the purpose of the ID attribute for now. Only focus on what is the purpose of the ID attribute. You already know that what is the purpose of the ID attribute, right? To uniquely identify
Yes.
an element. Okay. Why there is a
Yes.
need for uniquely identifying an element for the developer that I'm going to cover now. Okay. That's the only part you have to focus now. Don't worry. I'm not teaching you either JavaScript or I'm not teaching you either CSS at this moment. Okay,
Yeah.
it's all
Just
about
a curiosity I asked. HTML
yeah,
it
and no
looks like
problem.
yesterday
That's
you put
for
a yesterday you put
Mhm.
a box head and body. It was so super understandable. So
Yeah, that
where
will be fine.
just
Yes, yes. Yeah.
curiosity I asked
No,
CSS and JavaScript why
no
we
problem. It's not a big deal. Okay. So CSS and JavaScript are not big deal actually. So once you complete Java, right, JavaScript is very easy to understand. Okay. So we'll go with Java and then at later point of time, when time comes, right, maybe some portion of JavaScript I'll cover for you. Okay. But it's kind of easy only when you learn it at the correct time. Okay. So for now, the focus is still on HTML. It's not even on CSS or JavaScript. I'm not covering CSS or JavaScript. Okay. Just to create an example, I need the script tags, but I don't want to explain the script tags for you, but still because I need to cover the purpose of ID attribute. For example, here H2 tag is there, two paragraph tags are there. So I want to change the color of one of these paragraphs, not both the paragraphs, one of these paragraphs. So if I write something like this, okay, 1 minute. CSS, I need to check once. There will be one more tags known as style tags. Okay. Just see here what I'm trying to do, guys. Okay. Don't worry about this tags and all for now. One style tag, I'll say /style. This I'll cover later, style tags and all. I'll cover later. Focus on attribute. Okay. So if I say P here, if I say P and that actually go. Give me a second. Give me a second. Okay. Here it is. Okay. Yeah. Just observe, guys, what's happening here. Just observe. Don't worry about what I'm typing and all. Okay, I have written style tags which are provided by HTML. So inside the style tags, I can provide the CSS and all those stuff. If I say P stands for what? P stands for what, guys?
paragraph.
Paragraphs, right? Curly braces. Okay. Color red. Let's say this is what, right? I need to cover. Let's see. Yeah, color red. So what do you understand when I say P curly braces color red? I'm trying to change the color of the paragraphs, right? Both the paragraphs. Don't understand the concepts. Don't worry how I have written this curly braces. That you don't focus. Just focus on your understanding. Basically, if I write something like P curly braces color red, what you think may happen?
All the paragraph fonts change to red.
Red color, right? That's what. You just understand only that portion. How they are changing, don't worry. How we have written this, don't worry. That will come later. Okay. I've saved this, code where I said paragraphs in this particular HTML page should be displayed in which color? Red color. That's what I was communicating, right? That if you understand, that's all good. So I'll go to the downloads where I have saved this code as HTML file here. I'll just double click and see. Are the two paragraphs coming in red color on this page? Yes or no? Guys? Yes, right? Both the paragraphs are, text of the paragraphs are coming in red color. Why? Because I just mentioned P here in the style tags. I mentioned P here. And I just, I have written something where it is changing the color of this paragraph to red color. Okay. Now, I don't want both the paragraph colors to be in red color. Rather, one of the paragraph color should be in red color. So let's say this paragraph is having the ID as para1, whereas this paragraph is having the ID as para2. Now, am I uniquely identifying these two paragraphs or not? Am I uniquely identifying these two paragraphs or not? So my intention is to explain the uniqueness, why uniqueness is really required in HTML for some elements and all. Okay, why ID attribute came into picture, you have to understand. Okay, so what I will do here is p hash para 2. I have written like this. Instead of normal p, I have written hash para 2. What does it mean? Hash means paragraph having the ID as para 2. Don't worry, all this hash and all those stuff that will be covered later. Okay, this portion is called as a CSS selector actually. Okay, so you don't have to worry. A time will come where we'll learn CSS selectors, but here intention is not about teaching you CSS selectors or CSS concepts and all. Okay, the intention is to help you understand why developers have to provide the ID attributes to some HTML elements on the web pages. This kind of situations will come where one of the paragraph developers want to display in some red color, not all paragraphs. There may be multiple paragraphs on the web page, but only one particular paragraph the developer want to display in red color on the web page. For that reason, what the developer will do, the developer will add the style tags and say p hash para2, paragraph having the ID as para2. So uniquely we are identifying the element. So this particular paragraph has the ID as para2. For that particular paragraph only, the color of the text will come in red color. That's the purpose, guys. Okay. Clear? You see now is the only that paragraph 2 is coming, para 2 is coming in red color or not? Is it clear, guys? Is it clear? Only understand the purpose of the ID attribute in this example. Don't worry what thing have written in the application, okay, or the code, okay? So that you are not going to do anything. Just understand the purpose of the ID attribute. Why developers have to uniquely identify some elements here and there. This may be only one of the requirement where, one of the particular paragraph out of hundreds of paragraphs, a particular paragraph developer want to apply a different font size or styling or something. For that reason, developer may uniquely identify that paragraph with the help of some ID attribute like ID is equal to para2 or whatever the ID is equal to ABC. And then for that particular paragraph having the ID only, the some changes will be applied. Okay, that's one of the requirement I mean to say. Okay, so that's what ID I covered now. Okay, I gave one example for the ID. So one of the purpose where ID attribute need to be given for one of the HTML element to identify it uniquely. Okay, then we'll go for the name attribute. Then we'll go for the name attribute. Why name attribute will be generally given for the elements in the web pages? I'll show you one example where bike, bicycle, car. These three radio buttons you can see now. The 3 radio buttons that you are seeing. Okay. Yes, I'm pasting and ID related code to chat. Right. I did that. Okay. I'll just save this here. Please say file, save as. Desktop ID uniqueness demo.html files and this folder 21st December 2023 files. Just save it. So whenever I have time, at the end, I'll just upload these things online, okay, and share the links with you regarding the different things and all. Fine. Okay. Anyhow, the other second concept here is the name attribute, guys. Okay. After you understood ID attribute, the purpose, right? Now you also have to understand the name attribute and its purpose. Why I'm focusing more on ID attribute, name attribute, and class attributes here in HTML, because later when we learn locators, these are very useful for us. Okay. If you know why the ID attribute and all, locators concepts will be easy for us. That's the reason I'm covering this in detail for you in this session. Coming to the name attribute, there is one place where we developers use name attribute as part of HTML. For example, either this or this one. Pen, book, laptop, bag. 4 checkbox fields are there. do pen, book, laptop, bag belong to the same group or different group? Are they part of a separate group or not? Okay, they're kind of same group, Even bike, bicycle, car, one group. Here, male and female option, one group. Orange and blue, another group. Okay, right? So orange and blue belongs to same group. Male and female belongs to same group. A different group, but same group. Bike, bicycle, car belongs to another group, but same group. Pen, book, laptop, bag belong to same group. Okay, like that. Different. Have done some groupings. You see, how can I prove that? For example, if I am selecting a male option, female is not selected. Again, if I select female option, male is deselected. Male option, female is getting deselected. Female option, male is getting deselected. Right? Male is getting deselected. How that is possible? How can it know that this male and female belongs to a single group? Because an attribute used by developers known as which attribute? The HTML code of that particular elements, an attribute is used. What is that attribute? Name attribute. Type in the chat, guys. Name. Because of the name attribute only, these two radio buttons are acting like they belong to the same group. Okay. Yes, name attribute. I'll inspect and show you. I'll inspect this radio button, and I'll show you the HTML code of this radio button. What is the name attribute value here? Type in the chat. What do you see the name attribute value? Gender. For the female radio button also, here you see this is a male radio button. You can clearly see this value is called male. Male radio button. Name attribute value is gender. Whereas female radio button also, name is what? Same name or different name? Same name or different name? Same name. That is the reason they are acting as if they belong to the same group, right? Only one option I can select as a radio button out of these two radio buttons. That's the purpose of the radio buttons basically, right? So what if, I give a different thing, F gender or something, I'll just change it. Now, this is a temporary change, guys. Whatever the change I have done in the HTML code for these options, right? This is temporary. Once I refresh the page, these changes will go away. Okay. Just to just to edit the HTML on the fly, a temporary way to see the changes on the UI, we can do the changes here. You just double click the HTML code and you just modify the things. That's okay, guys. But once I refresh the page, these changes will go away. Okay. Fine. Anyhow, now you see what's happening? The moment I gave a different name attribute value to this male and female, which earlier used to have the same name attribute value, but now male radio button has a different name attribute value and female radio button has a different name attribute value. In that case, you see, is it behaving correctly? The radio buttons are behaving correctly. Is it a good idea to select multiple options? Multiple radio buttons from the same group? No, that's the problem. You see, you're already facing a problem. We have to communicate to this page that these two radio buttons belong to the same group. We should not be able to select two options. Okay, either male should be there or female should be there. Both cannot be there, right? So I'll just change it back. If I give the same name attribute value for these two radio buttons, you see, now it's working properly again. Okay, because they belong to the same group. But coming to the checkbox fields, the functionality of the checkbox fields is different from the radio buttons basically. Okay. In checkbox fields, we can select multiple checkbox fields. We can deselect both the checkbox fields also at the same time. None of the checkbox. Here, at least one option should be selected, but only one out of this group. But here, zero options can be selected. In checkbox field, the behavior is a bit different. Both options can be deselected state. Both options can be in selected state. Only one option can be in selected state. Like this, multiple combinations are possible. Both, nothing, either this one or this one. Like that, multiple combinations are possible. But still, both the checkbox fields belong to the same group. Right click inspect. You see, name, color, they have given. Similarly, here, if you come to pen, book, laptop, bag, they belong to the same category. Right click in one of the checkbox field and you see that name is equal to accessories, name is equal to accessories, name is equal to accessories, and name is equal to accessories. All these 4 checkbox fields have the same name. If I go with this bike, radio button, they will have a different name here. Name vehicle, name vehicle, name vehicle. Bike, bicycle, car have the same name attribute value as vehicle, like that, okay? So hope you understood, right, why the developers will give name attribute value for the elements. Is it clear? One of the purpose I covered for you. Why the developers will give some name attribute value to the elements. One of the purpose I told you, okay? Name has multiple purposes, guys, okay? Name has multiple purposes. Only one purpose I explained you. That is to group elements under same category. The developers may give the name attribute. What is the other thing? Form. There may be some forms like this. Or for example, tutorialsninja.com/demo. If you go to this application page, there is a page known as a register page. There's a page known as register page. First name, last name, email, telephone, password confirm, privacy policy, yes, no, and all those stuff, right? Yeah. You see, what happens really is, in a particular application, what happens, this is very important concept, just try to understand, okay? This is a UI of the page, and here you will enter some data, right, generally. If you want to create an account, everyone knows that we enter the data here. I'll give some email address, 2112 2023 7:44 AM @gmail.com. I'm just creating a random email address here. Okay. Telephone number 123456789. Some dummy telephone number. Password is 12345. I'm giving. Confirm password 12345. I'm giving. I'm not subscribing to the newsletter. I'm just selecting the privacy policy and then clicking on the continue button. What will happen when I click on the continue button? Tell me, guys, what will happen when I click on the continue button by giving all these details? What will happen? Type in the chat your answer. In the register account page, if I fill up all these details, yes, it will submit the data. And what will be the result actually on the UI? What will happen? What is the purpose? Why I have to fill this data into this register account form? And
Registration will complete.
yeah, an account will be created or not? A user will be created or not? User account will be
Yes.
created or not? Right? Okay. The purpose, main purpose. Type in the chat your answer, guys. Okay. Type in the chat your answer. Correct answer is account will be created. An account will be created. Yes, that is the answer. Everyone type in the chat your answer. An account will be created. Right? So this is an activity, but is it happening as simple as it is that you are seeing on the screen? No. Some background, something is happening, right? What is that something that is happening? I'll tell you now. Okay, account will be created, but is the account created on the fly or something like that from the UI? No. There's some process going on. Just understand this diagram. Very important, guys. Everyone focus on this. Let's say this is your laptop or my laptop that you are just now seeing, where in my laptop, I went to this application page, web, one of the page on the application, that is register account page. Okay. So I opened the browser here, let's say one of the browser like Chrome browser, something I opened. And here I opened the register account page. And the page came here with all the fields like first name, last name, email address, telephone. And there's a button here like submit button. Some button is there like submit to submit these details. So I have filled up all these fields as I shown you, right? I have filled up all these fields and I have clicked on this submit button. The moment I click on the submit button, what will happen? A request will be sent to the server. What will be done? A request. Understand this at a high level. A request will be sent to the server. To whom the request will be sent? Type in the chat your answer. To whom a request will be sent? From my laptop, a request will be sent to whom? A server. Let's say there is a server machine. Okay, a server will be there. So what does the server will contain? Server machine will contain whatever the code. You see, we are opening this application with the help of the URL, right? But developers have already developed this application or not? Developers have already developed this particular tutorials in the application or not? Right? the code the developers have written for developing this tutorials in the application, okay, they have written in the server. The actual code, okay, the actual code for developing this particular tutorials in the application is hosted in this particular server machine. The code is written here and is uploaded in the server machine. A separate machine known as server machine, where the entire code which is written by the developers for developing this each and every functionality of the application as a bulk, as a single item is uploaded in the server machine. Now, whenever you access this application page URL like register account, one of the page on the application URL, and enter the details from the UI of this enter the details from the UI of this particular application page, and the moment you click on the continue button, what will happen? A request will be sent to the server, guys. A request will be sent to the server, and this request, once it hits the server will run the appropriate code that is required to process this request. So why a request is sent? Request is sent so that these details will be sent to the server, and server has to run some appropriate code that is developed for the application, building the application by developers, and it has to run appropriate code related to creating an account. Yes or no? A request is sent, all the data that have entered on the UI, the data also will accompany this particular request. With this request, the data will be sent to the server, and server, once it receives this request, server will run a particular code which will create an account with the given details on the UI. Okay, the data is being passed to this particular code. The code will collect this data, and with the help of this data, server will run this code that is relevant, that is required to create an account. Okay, some portion of the code will be run in this entire application code to create an account. So the code in the server will run to process this particular request that we have got from this client machine or the laptop, whatever you say. Is the client, I will say. Once the server runs this code, some programming code the developers have written, and that code in the server has run to create this account with the help of these details. Once the account is created, server will send a response back to this browser in this laptop or client machine. What will be written? Response will come. What is the response? What does the response contain? Whether this request has been properly processed or not. Okay, whether the request has been properly processed or not. Okay, response will come in. Some response will come. The response can include some HTML, JavaScript, and all those stuff. Okay, you don't have to worry, man. Yeah, data has been submitted, and response will come saying that. So it will create an account. Server will create an account. So for that, server will do some more thing. While running the code, server will, communicate with something known as a database. Okay, to database purpose is to store the database, data of this application. Whatever the data you gave here to create an account, that is sent as a request, okay, to the server machine, and the server receives this particular request and runs the code, okay, runs the code and process this particular data, and with the help of the code will communicate with the database of this application, where one there will be some tables, database tables like users table or something. Into that, a newly created account details will be added to that. Okay, once the account is created, once the user account is created and data is stored in the database as part of the users table or whatever it is. Okay, database will say that everything is okay. Okay, the user has been created and the user data has been stored into the users table, something like the database will say. And once the server receives a positive confirmation from the database, server will send a response back saying that it will give a response saying that this is successful. If it is successful, it will say it is successful. You will be able to log in directly. Okay, you see, once I click on the continue button, account will be created, and I got logged in or not. Automatically I got logged in also. You see, logout option is coming, and your account has been created. Everything, this page details will be sent to the client. Okay, server will send this responses, the form of responses. It will send this page details, HTML code of this page, and all will be sent to the browser of the laptop in the client machine. And browser will understand that HTML code which came as a response from the server and will display that things for us. Okay, so this is what is happening in the background, guys. Okay, but how the server is communicating with the database? server will run some SQL queries. Different SQL queries are there. Okay, SQL, structured query language. There are different DBMS softwares like, Oracle, MySQL and all, where SQL is being used, to create the records in the table of a database, or to delete the records, to retrieve the information from that particular table from the database. Everything SQL is required, right? Server will use SQL to communicate with the database, data in the database. Okay. Clear with this diagram, everyone? What's happening on this? What's happening? Is it clear? Everyone clear?
Arun?
Yes.
So once it's created in the database, then only the client will get the response.
Yes,
So
yes.
correct.
Yes, without the details added to the database, nothing will happen. Okay, so this is a process. This is an example for, creating an account. Okay, this is how the application will behave when you are creating an account. Okay. So in the laptop, in the browser, whatever the application you open with the help of URL, when you give the data and click on some submit button, right, a request will be sent via the internet. How the request will be sent? Via the internet. Over internet, the data will be sent. Okay. So the protocol for internet is HTTP or HTTPS. Okay. If it is non-secured, HTTP. If it is secured, HTTPS. S stands for secured. HTTP or HTTPS. Okay. Mostly it will be HTTPS. The application is secured, S will be there. Extra S will be there. The request is sent to the server over the via the internet. The traveling will happen. For example, if you are going from one place to another place, you will travel either by bus or car or your own vehicles. Okay. Or train, flight, many transportation means are there. Similarly, in this case, the client need to connect with the server, means it will send the request to the server via the internet, guys. Okay, over internet, this request and responses will happen. A response also will come back from server to the client machine via internet only. The server will be somewhere hosted. We don't know. It may be in Singapore, but my laptop is in Hyderabad, India, Hyderabad. So in my machine, I'm doing this. A request is sent to the server that is there in the Singapore. Via internet, the request will go and request will be processed. The code in the server will run. The code is nothing but the application code that is developed by the developers for developing this application that we are actually using in our client machines. Once the code is processed, the code will take care of this database and all those stuff, and it will give a response back saying that successful or not successful. Okay. Clear with this thing? Is it clear? Any doubts?
Arun, this HTTP or HTTPS is decided by the website. Like if I want to create a Yahoo account or Google account, who will decide that? Secured one or
For any application, it is a standard. Okay, for any application, it is a standard. No one will decide this. Okay, so it's internet, right? Over internet, it should happen. Means protocol should be HTTP. For example, if you are sending emails, okay, the protocol will be different. That is SMTP protocol. Simple mail transfer protocol. For every different service, we have a different protocol. Okay.
Okay.
You are getting the point, right? You don't have to dig deep, but I'm explaining. But still, you see, for websites to communicate with the server and all, to go this request responses and all those stuff, it will happen over internet via HTTP or HTTPS protocol. But let's say you use Gmail, Yahoo email, and all those stuff, right? They will use a different protocol for communication. That is, which protocol they will use? SMTP protocol. Like many protocols are there. So for different purposes, different protocols are there. Okay. Like we have a different transport mechanisms like bus, train, flight, like that. Different protocols are there. Okay.
So these are protocol generally, if you want to know about that, it's usually protect our data, name, address, age.
No. That's not like that. Okay. Protocol is only for transportation purpose. While your data is transported over this internet via the HTTP protocol, right? The data is still not secured. That's the problem with HTTP. So most of the applications use what? HTTPS.
Okay.
So if you go with this application, let's say tutorialsninja.com/demo, here which protocol it is using? HTTPS it's using, right?
Yes.
For example, this one, here also S is there. Okay, there may be some applications where S will not be there, HTTP will be there. That means whatever you should be aware that whatever the data you are submitting to that application, okay, it's not secured, means some other third party person can access it. Okay, so that's why whenever you are creating an account or entering your sensitive data like PAN card, account numbers, right? Make sure that application is HTTPS. Most of the application will be secured only nowadays. But if you are in a situation where you are entering data, a new website, you have to check the protocol, what the protocol is there. If it is HTTP or HTTPS. If it is HTTP, then whatever the sensitive information you are giving, right, while the data is transferred from the client machine to the server machine, while it is in transit, there is a possibility that this data may get hacked. The hackers may get your data. They can listen to your data. Okay. Let's say I'll give you an example. You went to one airport. Okay. The airport people have given you an application, let's say. Okay. So you have to enter the data to get the onboarding tickets, where they are asking you to enter the, sensitive information like password of your some application, and the PAN card details, okay, account details and all the stuff they are asking to do some payment and all. But suddenly you found that that website the airport guys have given you is not HTTPS, it's HTTP. Will you dare yourself to give that information there, your sensitive information in that website? Will you dare to do so? What is the answer? The answer is no, right? No one should do that, because we are giving sensitive information. There's a possibility that during the transit, the hacker may hack your data, can listen to your data, can get your data, because the protocol is HTTP there. So we have to go with HTTPS, which is secured. Okay. So let's not dig deep, but yeah, let's not go there, encryption, decryption, and
This
all the stuff. Okay.
sir, one
Yeah.
doubt, sir.
Yes. Yes.
Sir, this server to and database, sir, the communication is HTTPS also, na? Same only, na? Protocol is same, right?
It will happen internally, basically. Okay. Server and database will not be there far away. They will be in the same machine, basically.
So the communication is not in HTTPS, sir?
Direct communication will be there. Direct communication. It is not outside it's not like remote machine somewhere over internet. They have to travel like that. It's not like that. There is a possibility. Maybe there may be some situations where it different depending on architectures and all different things, right? If machine is different, then definitely if it has to go via internet, then HTTPS may be there. But mostly it will not be like that. Maybe the direct communication between server machine and database hosting machine may be there. Okay. So it will be
Okay.
different thing. Let's not worry about that level depth. Okay.
Okay, sir.
This is important point. Here request will go and the response will go. The focus should be on this part. Okay. This will be happening security only, because it may not require internet to do that and all the stuff. Okay.
Okay. So this request which went right, which added this will be called as a put request, right?
No, not like that. There may be
Okay.
different type of requests actually, depending on okay. This example you are asking me.
Yeah, this example, since it is creating, right?
Yeah, it may be. Let's not go into that details again. API concepts will come, right?
Okay.
If you want to explore that, right, API, there is a website actually, which will give you all this answers for the questions you are asking. A
Yes,
website
sir.
name I have to remember actually. Okay, so there is one website, APIs. Just in 1 minute, I'll give it to you. But that will deviate. That's the problem. Just thinking I have saved in these notes. Just checking once.
Okay, no problem, sir. Later we can see.
You are checking for rec and
Yes,
res, right?
request, right, correct. REQRES, right?
Yes.
request routing. And this is the one I feel. Yeah, this one. Okay. So different, request types: get for retrieving the data, post for creating, put for updating. This is like creating, so post will come. Okay. If you already the record is data is saved in the database and you want to update that, then put will come. Okay. So
Okay,
this is a
sir.
website. If you want, guys, I will just share you this. Okay. But to understand that and all, if you really want to learn all the stuff, right? Whatever I explained today, if you want to learn in more detail, right? Then I'll give you the playlist also. I've created a playlist on API. That playlist, if you follow, means you'll get full clarity on what I'm talking about and all. Okay. Next level understanding will come to you. Yeah, this is a playlist you have to follow. There are 38 videos. Just complete the 38 videos. Okay. These are all the detailed topics because I cannot go in depth, right? So the problem. As part of these sessions, I cannot go. I'll give you the playlist also. Okay. I give you the playlist, guys. A lot of things are there. Fine then. Okay. Let's not deviate there. So this part is clear now? Is everyone, this part is clear? So why I'm explaining all these things to you? You see, the main reason why I was explaining these things to you is like, when I'm sending a request to the server, the data is being sent along with the request. Okay. Now the server need to identify this particular data is coming from which field. This particular data portion that is being sent is coming from which field. This particular data portion is coming from which field. This particular data portion is coming from which field. How can the server know that? How can the server identify that multiple amount of data is being sent from this form? Some name is being sent, some first name, last name, email, password, a lot of phone number, and all those things are being sent. But which data is coming from which field? How can the server know that? That is possible with the help of the name attribute. Okay. So just go here and say register and just right click and inspect this field. First name field. In the HTML code, for the first name field, what is there? First name attribute value is there. Last name field, it has a different name attribute value, that is last name. So uniquely we are informing the server that, okay, so along with the data, we'll send the name attribute value of this particular field to the server, and server will identify with the help of this name attribute value, server will identify that, okay, this particular data, okay, the data will be sent something like this, guys. Okay, data will be sent something like this. For example, Arun, my name Arun, and last name Motori, email address a@b.com something. Okay, telephone 12345678990. Like this, some data is being sent to the server from the client. But how can the server know that Arun is the first name, Motori is the last name, a@b.com is the email address. This is a telephone number field from which it is coming. Along with this data, server, this client will also send the name attribute values like first name attribute value, last name attribute value. Okay, email name attribute value, like that it will send. Okay, with the help of name attribute value, mostly in the forms you will see that, guys. Okay, this is a form or not? Whatever you are seeing in the register account page is a form or not? Yes, right? It is a form. It is a form that you are submitting to the server. So in the fields inside the form, generally the data is being sent to the server with help of the name attribute. So the server will identify the data that is coming together. Checking that server can identify that this particular data is from the first name field, that particular data is from the last name field, that particular data is from the email field. It can understand. You can even go for the login page. Here also there are two fields. And when you click on the login button, the moment you click on the login button, how the server will understand that this particular data is coming from the email, from this particular data is coming from the password field. Inspect it, you can see that this fields in this particular login form also will have the name attributes mentioned. Name is equal to email is there. For this field, name is equal to password is there. Okay, like that it will understand. Now clear, guys. Another purpose of developers providing the name attribute is clear for you. Everyone type C if it is clear. Otherwise, you have to ask the doubts. Important topics. So you have to, everyone type C or S, whatever you feel. These are the major items, guys, for the name attribute that you have to understand. Okay. Only 3 people or 4 people understood? Okay. I see only few people understood it. What about other people? Have you not understood? Everyone type in the chat. Be active. Great. Okay. Okay, guys, fine. Now, there is one more attribute known as class attribute. Okay. There is one more attribute known as class attribute that you have to understand. After that, we have CSS, but today it's already, we crossed the time. So anyhow, these concepts will be used in software testing. When I cover software testing, right, this will come to use for us again, okay? But maybe class attribute I will cover tomorrow, and other CSS I'll cover tomorrow. But let me cover one thing today, that is, for example, this login page is there. This login page is there. If you enter some email address and if you enter some password, and the moment you click on the login button, what will happen generally? Visually, what will happen, guys? Tell me the answer. Visually, what will happen? What is the outcome of this the moment I click on the login button?
It will log into the account and it will in the
If
UI
I
it
have,
will come like
yes, if I have given the proper credentials, I'll get logged in, right? It will allow me to log in. But that happened as simple as that. What happens in the background is, this is your client machine or laptop, whatever you say. In this client machine or laptop, I'm just repeating whatever I covered here, okay? So that this will be useful for us during software testing also. So be with me, okay? This will be covered, okay? I'm covering this thing in advance as part of this explanations and all. You see, you are browsing a URL, login page you went, you enter the email address, you enter the password, you clicked on that login button, you enter the email, password, valid email credentials, and click on the login button. What will happen, guys? A request will be sent to the server or not? A request will be sent to the server. Via which? Via what? How the request will be sent? Over what? Internet, via HTTPS protocol, let's say. Okay, HTTP or HTTPS protocol. And that request will be sent to the server machine. That request will be sent to the server machine. Server will contain the application code, and out of all the application code, server will run only that particular portion of the application code which is needed for this login. Login functionality related application code will be run. Okay. Now, when this browser or this application is sending a request to the server machine and all, it will send you the email address that I have entered into the login form, and password also it will send, right? And email address will a name attribute will be sent, name attribute value. It has different unique name attribute values, right? This will be sent along with that. So server will identify that this data is coming from the email field, this data is coming from the password field, and server will collect this data and run the code, and this code will process this data, and now the code will check whether this particular data is there in the database or not. Okay, correct or not? An existing user account is already created for this email address and password or not. In my application database, is there a particular user who is already created with this email and password credentials or not? How can it check? It will run the SQL query. The server will run the SQL query on the database, select start from users, where user email is equal to some email address, like that it will run something, and password is equal to something, like that it will run. And this SQL query will run on a particular table, like users table or whatever the table on the database. And if the record exists, if a record with this user credentials exists in the users table of this particular database, then SQL query will give a response saying that the record will come back. Once the record comes back, the code will assume confirm that yes, user exists with these credentials, and it will give a green signal by sending a response. With a green signal, it will send back the response to the client machine saying that yes, user exists, you can allow him to log in. Okay. Now once I click on the login button, I was able to log in because I got this response from the server stating that these credentials are valid credentials. Okay, this is what happening internally. Is it clear now, guys? Again, I gave one more example. This is for posting the data. This is for retrieving the data in this case. Different cases. Like this, you have to understand, guys. Okay, this knowledge is very important for everyone. For every software tester, this knowledge is important. Okay, this is a background thing that's happening. So this is all about the ID and name attribute that I would like that I have covered today, guys. Okay, so we have class attribute also. One more attribute, class attribute. So shall I cover this? What I'm thinking is so that at least this will be done for today, and I can go for CSS tomorrow. It's very simple, guys. Class attribute is mainly used for CSS styling purpose. I'll tell you. It's very simple. I'll cover this. Let me go to the sample application. On the sample application, can you see these two buttons, search button and this cart button, 0 items cart button? Guys, can you see? Type in the chat as you're able to see. The search button and this black color button. Search button is in gray color and whereas the black color cart button is in black color. Now, how this search button is in gray color and how the cart button is in black color? With the help of class attribute. What is the attribute name? That is giving the styling for this class attribute. Type in the chat. Class attribute is the reason behind that. If I right click on this search button, inspect it. You see there is a class attribute and some value is there. Copy this. I'll just paste it somewhere here just to compare. Similarly, if I right click on this cart button which is in black color background and it has a different class. You see class, copy this class attribute value. I copying it and I'm pasting it. Are they same? Are the class attribute values same for different buttons? That is search button and cart button. Do they have the same class attribute value? Do you see, do they have the same class attribute value? No, right? Be active, guys. Type fast. Okay. Type fast your answers. Only 3 people, 4 people are participating. What about other people? Type, guys. Okay. If you are not understanding, you have to ask the questions. No problem. How silly they may be. You have to ask the questions. If you understand, then type your answers. With your chat messages only, I can see and understand whether you guys are understanding or not. Okay. Fine. So one of the button has this class attribute value. Another button has this class attribute value. Why different buttons have the different class attribute values? Because the styling is different. If you clearly observe, the color of this styling means the color, size, and all those things of this button is different from the color, font size, and all those things of this button. Okay. What if I'll do one thing where I'll inspect this button and I'll just temporarily modify the HTML code of this button where class attribute value I'll remove and I'll give this particular class attribute value, cart related class attribute value I'm pasting into this button. Class is equal to, I'm pasting it here. Now the moment I just click somewhere, you see what's the background color of this button now? Did it change or not? A different styling has been applied or not? So this is how the class attribute value works. Why the developers are providing or mentioning the class attribute values in the HTML code for different elements to apply what? Styling. To apply CSS styling, developers are using the class attribute values here and there, right? Now, for example, if I go to this button, the login page, we have this login button. It has a different styling. Inspect this. It has this particular class attribute value. I'll copy. Now, wherever I see a button, I'll try to apply this class attribute value. Let's see what happens. For example, here to this black color button, I'll right click inspect, and I'll remove this one, and I'll paste this one. Copy and paste this one. Okay. Now what happened? The color of the button got changed to blue color. You see this login color font or styling got applied to this button. So that's now you can understand, right, the purpose of why developers are providing the class attribute value. Everyone able to understand why class attribute is being used by developers to apply the stylings to different elements on the web pages. Okay. Now I'll give you one more example. I'll just refresh, the changes will be gone. Original things will come. On the top, you can see currency, telephone number, my account, wish list, shopping cart, checkout. Do you see the way they are looking is same or not? My account, wish list, shopping cart, checkout. Do the options look similar or not? Guys, options look similar or not? The icon colors, when you highlight, you see when I hover the mouse, the darker they are coming. They look very simple, similar, right? These options look very similar. These 4 options look very similar. Okay, if I right click inspect this my account and identify the CSS selector, you see, I mean class attribute value, if I identify and paste it here. And second element, I'll go with the wish list, inspect this. Do you think it will have the same class or different class? Do you think it will have the same class or different class? Yes, same, because they are looking similar means definitely the class attribute value would have been same. Just copy paste for second element. Are they same? Yes, same. Now for shopping cart, inspect this. Yes, they are same again. Now for checkout, inspect. Are they same or different? Yes, they are same again. You see? Yes, they are same again. Right? All have the same class attribute value. That's why they are looking similar. Now you understood why class attribute values will be used by developers. To apply the same styling to multiple elements, the same class attribute value will be provided by developers to multiple elements on the web page. This is the real reason why ID, name, and class attribute names exist in HTML code. Able to understand the 3 things, guys? ID, name, and class attribute values. Able to understand? The reason why developers generally provide ID attribute value, name attribute value, class attribute values to the different elements on the web pages. This is the reason behind ID for uniqueness, name for grouping, and form elements. Okay, for to help the server in identify the data is coming from which form elements. That is a name attribute purpose. Whereas class attribute purpose is to style the elements same way or different way. We use different class attribute values they can provide. Okay. Styling is done something like this only, guys. Okay, you see, if you see some elements which look similar, for example here, login, register, forgot password, everything looks similar. They may have the same class attribute value. You can explore that. Okay, so that's all for today, guys. That's all for today as part of trainings and all. Tomorrow we'll cover CSS. Okay, CSS part is still left out. That I'll cover tomorrow. And later we'll go for locators, and after that we'll go for Java, and then after Java we'll go for Selenium automation. Okay, that's the plan. So I'll give you one assignment also. For today, I'll give you one assignment. The assignment is go to this application. Try to understand. Okay. Try to locate different type of elements. For example, this is an image web element. This is a text area field. This is a drop-down field. Like that, there are many elements on this web page. You have to explore each and every type of element and inspect their HTML code. For example, this image is there. Right click and inspect. And observe this is an image element. For the image element, what tag name is there, what HTML code is there, you have to explore. Okay, like that, different type of UI elements on the web pages you have to explore. Okay, that's the task. Yes, I'll share this URL. In the chat I have pasted, guys. You have to explore this application and identify different UI elements. For example, this is a text box field. This is a text area field. You should be able to identify that. So what is this? This is a drop-down field. Then what about this one? Okay, this is a hyperlink. Like that, you have to explore different elements on these web pages. And for each and every web element, you have to investigate the HTML code. You have to go and check the HTML code of the each and every element and see what the different attributes are there, what the HTML tags are there. Okay. All those things you have to explore. That's the task. That's the assignment, you can say. Now it's the time for you guys to ask me any questions, guys. Any questions you have? Guys, any questions? from today's session?
Arun, I have one small question.
Mhm.
In the document, you for name attribute, right? I saw one tag, right? Field set or set field.
Okay.
Could you just give me a glimpse of that? Why we will use
Okay,
that particular
that
tag?
will be that I will not going to cover. Okay, that will
Okay.
deviate
No,
us.
I'm just asking like for P means for paragraph, right? And LI means for list. Just in that way,
Okay,
field
okay.
set means.
Understood, but I don't want to cover that the way, because again we keep on investigating each and every topic of HTML, it will become very depth. Okay, so I want you to explore by yourself such kind of stuff, and
Okay.
and that is already explained as part of that video I have shared yesterday. Okay, as an
Oh,
assignment I
okay.
gave you, right? In that video, the answer is
Yeah,
already there. You'll get the answer there. Okay.
sure. Then I'll refer the
Yeah,
video.
just refer that video. Still you are not able to understand, you can ask me out. No problem. Okay.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. So if you can complete that assignments by end of the Sunday, right? Sunday EOD, right? Then you'll all be set and ready for the next, topics and all. I think tomorrow is a Friday, and we'll try to complete, the CSS part, which will be very simple. I'll not cover in depth. CSS part very simple it will be, and next part will be, I'll be covering this, the CSS, JavaScript, HTML, to compare and all. Locators, I think we may start. We don't know whether we'll start or not tomorrow. But till JavaScript understanding, I can get you there. But coming to the locators part, I may cover it on Monday, or we may start tomorrow also if time permits. Okay, we don't know. Okay, that's the plan. So any other questions, guys? Any other questions?
Arun,
Yes.
how much JavaScript knowledge is needed for automation job?
Not that much actually. Okay, you don't have to even learn also, basically. You can Google
Okay.
search, and you can even Google search and get the things done. You don't have to learn to that extent.
So it is not mandatory. I have to understand developers code. So, but I should
Not
be able
required.
to
Not for
understand.
automation, it is not required. Okay. For
Okay.
example, you say, let's say what I will do generally for automation. I am saying, since you asked me the question, right? Let me explain this. So, for example, I want to display an alert with the help of automation script. So I'll simply Google search saying that JavaScript code for displaying an alert on the web page. Like this, I'll write. Then
Okay.
I'll write the code. I got the code here itself. You see, alert. This is an alert. This is the code. Okay. I got the links and all. Okay, I'll just go inside this and see like what the explanation. You see, this is the syntax: alert and message. Okay. So I'm getting some examples, right? This I'll use and run from my automation code. So I don't have to remember and practice JavaScript code here. So if I have another thing, for example, Selenium Java automation, I can write such like this also. Say Selenium Java automation, scrolling web page using JavaScript. Then I'll get some examples. Even my video is also coming here. So how to scroll down a page using JavaScript in Selenium. So they are giving some methods like window dot scroll by this pixels. This is a code, okay, that we have to use. You can go through different things and you can finalize also. So anyhow, I'll be covering that how to run the JavaScript code from Selenium automation. At that time, I'll be covering some aspects for you. Only those things you can learn and understand. Okay, you don't have to learn the entire JavaScript code. Okay, only the thing that is required you will learn. Okay,
Okay.
fine.
Sir,
Don't worry about the extensive way of learning is not required.
Okay.
Yes.
Sir, that multiple. Sir, yesterday I asked one question, right? I found the solution for that, sir. Sir, that multiple window, right? If I want to go to the third window.
Yes. Right. You found
Yes,
the
sir.
solution?
Yeah, sir. Sir, your code only, but in that small change, sir. Like,
Yeah, that's what you see. I cannot explain all the possibilities. You see whatever I covered, right? On the top of that, you have to explore, okay, and modify the code and get the things done.
yes, sir.
Good that you have done that, okay.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
Yes, after CSS and locators, we'll go for core Java. Okay, that's the plan. And Nagveni, you got the answer now. After CSS and locators, the next topic will be core Java. And Pavan, you are asking me a question in the chat saying that what is the difference between link and hyperlink? And what is the other question you asked me? 1 minute. One more question is there. PN. What is the difference between Notepad++ and Visual Studio? Both are editors, guys. Okay. So if you want better editor, you can go for Visual Studio. Okay. So I personally feel that if I'm working with both HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right, I'll use Visual Studio as an editor. Okay. Visual Studio will look good for me. Whereas Notepad++ still I can work, but not that much efficient as Visual Studio. So depending on our need, we can upgrade our editor from normal Notepad to Notepad++, Notepad++ to Visual Studio Code, and even from Visual Studio to Code to any other editor also. Okay, there are a lot of editors that are there in the market. Okay, all are widely used. Okay, I cannot say this one is. It all depends on your purpose. Okay, Visual Studio Code is also Visual Studio Code editor is also very good editor. Okay. Clear PN, clear PN. You can use different editors. No editor is like less and like that. Okay, all are good editors only. So depending on our requirement, depending on which level we are, what amount of editor functionality is enough, we'll decide which editor and all those stuff. Okay. So whenever I'm teaching you something, I may choose some editor which is sufficient at that particular point of time. You see, for simple thing, I cannot go with a complex editor, right? So Visual Studio is not that much required at this moment for me, so I'm going with Notepad++ like that. Okay. What's the difference between link and hyperlink? I think both the things are same. Okay. Link and hyperlink, both the things are same. But do you have any different, any other way of differentiating it? Yeah, we generally use often. Sometimes we call hyperlink as link, and that is a common word. Okay. But if you want to dig deep, there will be a difference. Okay, as ChatGPT is giving an answer, right? Link is general time used to describe a connection between two things. Okay. What is the link between the two elements like that? Okay. So like that. But ultimately, hyperlinks also sometimes we call that as links. So to that extent, okay, to that extent we can understand. Okay. You see, hyperlink is a specific type of link. Link is a general term, whereas hyperlink is a specific term.
Maybe in a simple way, we can say if we will click on the hyperlink, it will redirects to the separate window or separate page, right?
Yeah,
The
that's fine. But sometimes, right, we often tend to use a word like link in place of hyperlink. Okay.
yeah.
There is a link you can see like that. Okay, because hyperlink is also a type of link. Okay, it's a one of the type of the link. Okay, that level we can understand. I think we should not dig deep there going ahead. Okay.
Okay.
You see, in summary, all the hyperlinks are links, but links are not necessarily hyperlinks. Okay, that means hyperlink is one of the type of the link. So there are many contexts where link word may be used in real time to, uh, you know, this particular thing is linked with that particular thing. This document is linked. It is a linked document of like that. We'll use a lot of stuff only, but hyperlink is one type of link. Okay. Yeah, Balu is asking me a question. In this source code, class and ID both attributes have taken. ID is it okay? I didn't get your question clearly, Balu. Like what exactly you're asking? In this source code, class and ID both attributes have taken ID.
Hi, sir. Sir, actually in the HTML source code,
Hmm.
ID and class name is available, sir.
Okay, in that case, which one you will use for locators purpose? You are saying
Yes.
I will use ID only. That I'll cover later. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you.
So there is a concept known as that I have to explain the upcoming days known as priority of locators. When the
Okay.
time comes, I'll cover that. Okay. For now,
Yeah.
our understanding, HTML level, we are trying to extract something that is required for locators part. Okay. Because
Okay.
when I
Thank you.
cover locators, right? When I cover locators, now ID is for uniqueness, name is for grouping purpose, class is for applying the stylings. Different purposes are there. Okay. So when I cover the locators, these concepts will be useful for you. Okay. Why we are using this ID name class as locators, we'll understand later. Okay. So we have the remaining topics are CSS and small portion of JavaScript demo I'll give tomorrow. And after that, we'll go for locators. Once the locators concept is done, then we'll go for, Java. Great. Any other
Arun?
questions? Yeah.
Arun, for a beginner like us, if we want to learn, if I'm planning to learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, it's
Hmm.
better to start with the Visual Studio. I mean, everything in one code.
So guys, if you really want to learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right? Um yes, Visual Studio is required definitely. Okay, if you are serious about that, definitely Visual Studio Code is required. So you can check my YouTube channel. You know, if you really want to
Note-
explore that. No.
Notepad Plus, we cannot do JavaScript.
No. You
CSS.
will understand at the appropriate point of time where Notepad++ is not beneficial and why we need Visual Studio. That you will understand. Okay. So at some point of time, there, you know, when you work as a project and all, right, that many options are not there in Notepad++. You see, when you compare Notepad and Notepad++, all the options that are there in Notepad++ are not there in Notepad, right? Then we move to Notepad++ for some purpose, right? Similarly, when you have to move from Notepad++ to Visual Studio Code, you need to understand the purpose, why you are moving and all, okay? Because Visual Studio Code editor will have some kind of additional options which will help you in, you know, organizing in code better way, and you don't have to maintain multiple files and all those stuff will come into picture, okay? So it will make your job easy while writing. You are utilizing HTML, CSS, JavaScript together, right? At that time, you'll feel that, okay, this is why Visual Studio Code is required, okay? So anyhow, what we can do is like, I'll give you two playlists. Already I gave you one playlist, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Already I gave you yesterday, right? That is assignment part I gave you. Apart from that, if you want to learn JavaScript in depth, I have a playlist with me that you can learn. Just let me find it out.
Introduction to
Yeah, this one, 38 videos are there.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, this is a playlist. It's not compulsory. Again, it is optional. Okay, so if you have time, you guys can explore this one. Okay, it's very good. Good to go also. Okay. You see here, I clearly mentioned introduction. I clearly went on to Visual Studio Code here, right? So there is an extension known as live server extension. When you click something, right, automatically it will open. Okay, that you will, when you see only, you will understand what is the benefit of Visual Studio Code over Notepad++. Okay, otherwise you'll not understand. Again, I gave a demo like HTML, CSS, and DOM for JavaScript on this. Okay, executing the JavaScript code on Visual Studio Code. I gave everything. Then slowly some programming started and all. Okay. So this one you can practice if you want. I can give in the chart here. Okay, this is a JavaScript code playlist. You can copy paste.
Thank you.
Okay, so a lot of things. So yeah. 1 minute. Any other questions, guys, for today? If you don't have any questions, you can leave the meeting, guys. Okay, tomorrow we can continue. Okay, fine, great. So bye everyone. It's already our time is up, right? Better close the thing. We'll continue tomorrow. If any questions, you can ask me tomorrow again if required. So bye everyone. See you then. See you tomorrow.